I came home for Christmas. The house was empty, except for Grandma, eating leftovers. A note on the counter said, "Spent your $8,500 loan on a family cruise. Take care of her." Grandma looked up and said, "We'll fix this." I didn't say anything, just nodded. 4 days later, they came back asking for something, but I didn't even knock. It was my parents' house, the one I helped pay for. I was supposed to be there for Christmas, like always. But when I opened the front door, it didn't feel warm or happy. The tree was lit, a plastic star blinked at me, like it felt bad, but the house was quiet. No voices, no gifts, no smells of cookies or cinnamon, just the soft sound of someone eating. "Hello?" I said, stepping inside. "In here, sweetheart," Grandma called from the kitchen. Her voice was soft and tired. I walked in and saw her sitting alone in her purple sweater, eating cold ham and stuffing. "Where is everyone?" I asked. She didn't answer right away. She just smiled sadly and handed me a folded note. Her hands were shaking. I opened it. It was a ripped piece of notebook paper with my name on it. "Spent your $8,500 loan on a family cruise. Sorry. Take care of Grandma while we're gone. Love, Mom." I couldn't speak. That money was for my dental surgery. I worked over a year to save it. Grandma watched me carefully, like I might explode. "I guess they thought you wouldn't mind," she said quietly. "They left yesterday." I sat down hard. The chair felt colder than the air. "No call? No warning? Just took the money and left you here?" I said. She gave a dry laugh. "Oh, honey, you know they only call when they want something." I nodded slowly. My hands were tight fists under the table. This wasn't new. Just worse. Grandma sipped her juice, looked right at me, and said, "We'll fix this." I didn't reply, but inside, something snapped. And something colder took its place. That night, Grandma went to bed early. She kissed my cheek and said, "You were always the kind one." Then she limped off. She still hadn't recovered from falling down the stairs 2 winters ago. No one took her to rehab. I stayed up alone. No TV, no lights, just that note, and my thoughts. I work nights, weekends, holidays. Driving, freelancing, skipping meals and sleep. $8,500. Gone. For a cruise. I checked the family group chat. No Merry Christmas, nothing. I scrolled up. The last message from Mom was in November. "Don't forget to transfer the loan to Dad's account. We need to book before the prices jump." Loan, not gift. They always called it a loan. Mom had said, "It's short term. We'll pay you back by February. You can delay your dental stuff." I said yes, like I always did. I said yes when they needed money for Jacob's school. Yes for Dad's gambling debt. Yes when Kelly needed rent. Because if I didn't, I was selfish. Ungrateful. Family comes first, right? Even though they kicked me out at 17 for not lying for Jacob. Even though they missed my graduation. Even though they forgot my birthday for 3 years. But when they needed money, suddenly I mattered. By the next morning, I knew everything. They weren't just on a cruise. They were on a luxury ship, the majestic Aurora. 10 days, fancy food, private butler, $3,000 per person, 4 people. I saw the proof on Betty's Instagram. She didn't block me. All 4 of them in robes, holding champagne. The caption, finally, peace away from the leeches and negativity. Leeches. I laughed. They used my money, left Grandma with leftovers, and called me a leech. That's when the last piece of me broke. No more sadness, no more anger. Just focus. That night, Grandma found me in the garage, digging through Dad's old filing cabinet. "I need to know everything," I said, "where the money went, what they've done." She sat down beside me, opened an old notebook, and said, "Let's start with 2016, that's when your mother stole my pension login." By midnight, we had numbers. By the next day, we had a plan. They came home acting like royalty. Laughing, dragging suitcases. Betty walked in first, whining about her dinner on the cruise. Mom came next, wearing sunglasses indoors. "Did you even clean?" she said, stepping over Grandma's shawl. Dad grunted when he saw me. "Oh, you're still here?" Jacob didn't even look at Grandma, just dropped his bags and sat down. I stayed calm, sitting at the table with my hands folded. "Where's the food?" Mom asked. "In the fridge," I said. "Still some of the ham you left." Jacob snorted. "Still on that? Dude, just order takeout. It's not like you're broke." I stood up slowly. "Good," I said. "You're all here. I've got something to show you." Jacob rolled his eyes but sat down. Dad cracked his knuckles. Betty looked for a place to charge her phone. I turned the laptop so they could see the screen and clicked play. First video, a spreadsheet. Not just numbers, but a full report Grandma and I built over 4 days. It showed every dollar taken from her pension, every ATM withdrawal from her card, always near the gas stations Dad used, every emergency payment Betty requested that ended up being for makeup or Apple products. Mom's voice got tight. Where'd you get this? Her bank, I said. You should have been more careful using her password. Next video, screenshots, Venmo payments, logins from Mom's phone, proof that Dad used Grandma's money for gambling. Then emails, Mom to Betty, he won't notice the cruise money missing. He trusts us too much. Betty replied, he's a softie. Plus, who leaves Grandma alone at Christmas? I kept going. I could stop here, I said, but I'm not going to. Then I played a voice recording. Kelly, Jacob's wife, was on our porch 2 nights earlier, crying. I didn't want to go. I told Jacob not to do it, but he said if you didn't pay, they'd leave Grandma and deal with it later. I kept quiet because he said it'd blow over. I'm sorry. I couldn't lie anymore. Jacob jumped up. You recorded her? That's illegal. No, I said. She asked me to. She's tired of covering for you. Dad stood, his face red. You've been spying on us? No, I said. I'm done being stolen from. Then I opened one last file, an email draft. Subject, Report of Elder Financial Abuse, Evidence attached. It was ready to send to Social Security, Grandma's lawyer, the county, and local news outlets. You've got 48 hours, I said. Give back every penny, or I send this. Betty's hands shook. You're bluffing. You'd ruin your family? No, I said. You did that. I'm just sending the bill. Grandma stood. She hadn't spoken until now. She put her hand on the chair and said, I raised you, fed you, protected you, and when I couldn't walk, you left me with frozen beans and moldy pie while you drank champagne on stolen money. You're lucky he's the one coming after you. If it were just me. She didn't finish. She didn't have to. The room went silent. Dad cursed and stormed out. Betty cried and tried to hug Grandma, who turned away. Jacob glared at me. You're not family anymore. I smiled. No, I'm free. They didn't believe I'd go through with it, but I wasn't bluffing. The next day, I sent the email, every file, every screenshot, every voice recording, sent to the right people. That evening I got a reply. Thank you. A case has been opened. Then everything blew up. Jacob called first. A bunch of missed calls and texts. We didn't mean it. You're going to destroy your family over some cash? Mom texted too. You're being dramatic. Take the post down. Let's talk. I didn't answer. I forwarded everything to my lawyer, Natalie. She and Grandma's legal advisor had already been working together since I recorded Kelly's confession. Natalie sent legal letters the same day, to my parents, Betty, and Jacob. They were being sued. Charges: elder financial abuse, stealing from a retirement account, misusing family loans. They owed $14,322.85, with interest. The next night, Mom showed up. She looked tired, no makeup, hair a mess. Can we talk? She asked. Only if you brought a checkbook, I said. She handed me an envelope. Inside was a cashier's check for $8,500, my loan. No interest? I asked. You're lucky to get that, she snapped. You've destroyed us. You're turning your back on your mother. No, I said, stepping outside and closing the door behind me. I'm turning my back on a thief. A few days later, Betty called crying. A news article had gone viral. Title: Family steals grandmother's pension, abandons her at Christmas, grandson fights back. 42,000 shares overnight. Her job didn't like the publicity. Her name was in the screenshots. Her message about leeches became a meme. I'm getting fired, she sobbed. Do you know what you've done? Return the favor, I said. Now pay up. She did, in 4 parts. I made her send proof every time. Jacob held out the longest. He bragged online, it's all fake. My boss doesn't care. Then Kelly left him. She filed for separation. She said she wouldn't raise her kids around someone who lies and steals. She called me that day. I'm sorry it took so long, she said, but I finally see him for who he is. She asked if I could help her find a place. As long as there are no strings, she added. There aren't, I said. You did the right thing. 2 days later, Jacob showed up, angry, exhausted. You ruined everything, he growled. No, I said, handing him a letter from Natalie. You did. It was a court notice to garnish his wages. He tried to rip it up. I didn't flinch. Pay it, I said, or we freeze your accounts. By the end of the second week, every cent was paid back. $8,500 from Mom and Dad. $3,100 from Betty, with interest. $2,700 from Jacob, after borrowing from his boss. Total, $14,300 plus. I used $3,000 to finally fix my teeth. $2,000 to buy Grandma a proper lift chair and hire a home nurse. The rest went into a bank account in Grandma's name, only she and I can touch it. When I showed her the paperwork, she cried. They took everything from me, she whispered, but they didn't take you. I didn't just win the money. I won me back. All the guilt, the shame, the feeling of never being good enough, it all fell away. They stopped calling. And for the first time, the silence felt good. Not scary, not sad. But clean, free. The money was back. The house was quiet. Grandma slept through the night without fear. And me? I was finally someone they couldn't control. In the end, I didn't just get justice. I got my life back. I took Grandma to her favorite diner, the kind of place with old floors and terrible coffee, but she was happy, laughing more in that hour than I'd seen in years. I miss this, she said, dipping fries into her milkshake. You mean your arteries miss this? I joked. She shrugged. I'd rather die laughing with you than choking on cruise shrimp with those snakes. Fair enough, but even peace has its shadows. They didn't call, but they sure talked. Betty posted on Facebook about forgiveness, along with a photo of her lighting a candle at church. Mom told distant relatives I'd tricked Grandma in her old age, leaving out the part where she used Grandma's money to pay off her plastic surgery. Jacob, of course, went full drama. He made a video about toxic siblings, using dramatic music and a quote from Succession. His caption? Some people would rather see you fall than rise with you. I laughed out loud. You tried to set me on fire and dance in the ashes. They were trying to change the story, but I had proof, and I wasn't staying silent. 3 weeks later, something happened. Grandma and I were at the grocery store, filling her cart with soup and ginger ale, when a woman walked up. She was older, elegant, and looked right at me. Are you the one from the article? She asked. I tensed. Yeah, I guess. She smiled. Thank you, for standing up, for not staying quiet. My mom went through the same thing, but no one helped her. I wish someone had. She gently touched my arm and walked away. I looked at Grandma. She was frozen, tears in her eyes. I didn't think anyone saw us, she whispered. They do now, I said. That's when I realized, it wasn't just about the money, or revenge, or proving I wasn't weak. It was about telling the truth, out loud. The best part? I was done explaining myself. The truth was already out there, dragging their names through the dirt. Every time they lied, someone online reminded them what they did. Mom tried starting a cooking YouTube channel, Cozy Kitchen with Carla, but in the comments, someone wrote, "Did you pay for that oven with stolen retirement funds?" She deleted it in 2 days. Jacob tried getting a new job but didn't pass the background check. The wage garnishment scared off the company. Betty disappeared for a bit, then came back on Instagram as at @m_Lifferset, posting yoga pics and inspirational quotes. She talked about cutting out toxic people, which was funny, because I didn't cut her out, I exiled her. Months passed. I moved into a small, clean apartment, filled with secondhand furniture, stuff I picked, not them. Grandma came with me, one room for her, one for me. She decorated hers with old photos and a crochet blanket from 1993, she called it the fort. One night, she knocked on my door. When you saw what they wrote in that note, she asked, why didn't you leave, why'd you stay? I thought for a while, then said, because I remembered who I was, before they made me forget. She looked at me, nodded, and said, I'm proud of you, sweetheart. And that broke me more than anything they ever said, because she meant it, and no one else ever had. Weeks later, I saw Kelly outside a coffee shop. She looked better, free, almost. She said she was taking night classes and working toward a new career. I didn't know I could live like this, she said, without being scared of him. You gave me that. She stepped closer. You didn't just change your life, you changed mine too. I nodded. And maybe, for the first time, I believed it. So here's my ending. What happened to the family? They ruined their own names trying to bury mine. What happened to me? I stopped waiting for them to call me family, and started building a real one with people who never made me beg for love. Now, I sleep peacefully, lights off, no fear. They took everything. And I took it back.